Over the last couple years, there's a collective that has quietly built one of the most loyal, interesting, and unique fan bases in the underground rap scene, OWAY. From recording music on a phone to catching the attention of Young Thug, the story of Tezzus and OWAY is one of the most unexpected rises in underground rap history. OWAY was founded by the Atlanta rapper Tezzus. Tezzus was born on the south side of Atlanta, and way back when he was still in public school, him and a group of friends went by the name Red Dollar Youngins. If you're tapped in with Tezzus, you probably know he still keeps that dollar signature theme to his character. And this was essentially the very beginning of what would later turn into OWAY. Tezzus has said that back then, him and his friends used to jump people, saying he was, quote, a badass kid. Eventually, this would lead to him getting kicked out of school when he was in 7th grade. After that, he started spending time studying revolutionaries and conquerors throughout history. He said the reason he did this was because he wanted to learn everything from them, because in his mind, he was a king, and he didn't want to fall the same way they did. During his middle school years, Tezzus was already making music, but the way he recorded was pretty crazy. He would actually record directly through the SoundCloud app on his phone while playing the beat out loud in the background. Since there was nowhere to actually put the beat on his phone, the beat and his vocals were both being recorded through the same mic. It was a pretty insane setup, but it worked. Because Tezzus was pretty much done with going back to school, he started putting everything he had into his music. As he once said to himself, "When things get rough, I go harder," and that mentality would end up becoming a big part of what OWAY really meant. Now, as many of you may know, Tezzus and Diamond are one of the best duos in the underground right now. But the interesting thing is that they never actually met through music. Before either of them really started making waves in the underground, Diamond had actually driven all the way to Sandy Springs just to buy some weed. The place he ended up going to happened to be the same house that Tezzus was at. That is where they met. They started talking and pretty much ended up becoming good friends very quickly. Eventually, Tezzus would start connecting with another collective called 4ET, which stood for Forever Thummin'. This group included artists like Dior vs. You, Rollin' Thrax, Southside Silhouette, and even hard rock back in the early stages of his career. Over time, they started working together and eventually created what was basically the second incarnation of 4ET, putting everything under one name, OWAY. But things weren't always easy during this time. Tezzus went through a lot of rough periods, even talking about times where he was living in studios, dealing with evictions. Still, he kept making music. Then, in 2024, Tezzus would release what many people consider to be his breakout album, Tezzus Christ. This project included features from artists like Billion, 10K Duncan, and Tana. And this was around the time when things really started looking brighter for Tezzus and OWAY. Now, arguably the most important moment in both Tezzus' career and OWAY as a whole came from one song. Bada bing, bada boom. The track appeared on Diamond's first album, No Idols, and it quickly started getting attention online. At one point, a performance video of Tezzus and Diamond doing the song ended up reaching none other than Young Thug. After seeing the clip, Young Thug reached out and ended up offering both of them deals to join his label YSL, which of course they accepted. OWAY is still a very new collective in the underground rap scene, but they've already shown that they're not afraid to bring in more talent into the movement. One example is the artist PZ, who many of you may already know. Tezzus and Diamond had seen how talented he was and knew they wanted him to be a part of OWAY, and honestly, he fits perfectly with the group. But at the end of the day, OWAY isn't just a collective. It's meant to be a movement. Tezzus has explained that the cross inside the O is actually meant to represent crossing out oppression. Not just from a political standpoint, but from everyday life. The idea that artists, workers, and normal people are consistently dealing with different kinds of struggles. And in a lot of ways, OWAY represents people pushing against that. Something that originally started as a group of kids in Atlanta has now turned into one of the most interesting movements in underground rap history.